Hey everyone, I wanted to do a couple problems with you for your quiz review to help you prepare for Monday or Tuesday for your quiz. I'm going to do some graphing ones with you. I'm going to start with H and then do a couple others. All right, so for H we have the parent graph, f of x equals the absolute value of x. And then there's a transformation. List the transformations and graph. Let's start with the negative out in front. That is an A, and it's -1. Since A is -1, that's a vertical reflection. So I am going to write vertical reflection since A is equal to -1. I see a -3 inside the absolute value. So remember, inside the parentheses, the absolute value, under the square root, there's a value that's grouped with the x, and that is your h, and it's opposite of what you see. So if I see x -3, it's not moving 3 to the left, it's actually moving 3 to the right, opposite of what I see. So that is going to be a translation, or you can say shift, or you can say moves to the right 3. Since h is equal to 3. And h is not equal to -3. The rule is x minus h. So h is a 3 and it was substituted in and you get x minus 3. Our k is outside of either the parentheses, the absolute value, the square root. It's not grouped with the x. It is outside of that grouping. And that's your vertical move of either up or down, and it is what you see. So it moves up, it's positive, moves up 2. Now, since our parent function is absolute value, and that shape is a V, and this is what you want to be able to do on your quiz. You want to know what the general shape looks like and be familiar with it, and then you can use that information with the transformations and quickly graph. Otherwise, if you don't know that general shape, you need to make a table. Let's put the parent graph on there just so we can see. The absolute value of 0 is 0, absolute value of 1 is 1, 2, 3. And it goes up at a 45-degree angle to the right. Absolute value of -1 is +1, -2 is +2, and so on. And so we have a slope of 1 for this line and a slope of -1 for this line. So that's the parent function. Back to the transformed graph. This HK is your new vertex, that point where the graph is going down and then turns and goes back up. So if H is 3, and I forgot to write in here that K is 2, I'm going to go to that point to start off my transformed graph. So to the right 3 and up 2. That is my new point. Now, instead of going to the right 1 and up 1, and then to the right 2 and up 2, because the A is negative, we're going to go down. So from my new starting point, I'm going to go to the right 1 and then down 1, to the right 2 and then down 2, and so on. I'm also going to go to the left 1 and down 1, and to the left 2 and down 2. So it looks like this. So there was no stretch or shrink, so it still has that same V shape, just flipped over, just reflected vertically. All right, the next one, we're going to skip a few of these here. I'm going to do N with you. We're going to try to figure out what the graph is. Actually, N is that the one that I wanted to do? I think it was. It's also an absolute value. But this one has a vertical stretch, which I'll show you how to figure that out. We know that the parent function, because it's a V shape, is the absolute value of x. And I want to figure out what my H and K and A would be. So I'm trying to figure out what is A, what is H, and what is k. And your h and k come from that turning point, that vertex. If I plug in a -4, so let's get part of this written. I don't know what a is yet, but if I plug in a -4, subtracting a -4 is going to become +4. And then the -5, sorry, my eyes are bad there, had to look at that, -5 for the k. So it went to the left 4 and down 5. So now we need to figure out this. And I want to look and see if this has that 1-to-1 ratio that the other one had for the parent function. You would normally go over 1 and up 1. And that's not what's happening here. I'd go over 2 and up 2. So what is happening? So let's look at the points and figure out how much of a stretch is happening here. So here's a point that has a nice integer value because it's at the, you can see the lines going through it there. That looks like -3 and -3. And then here's another point here. That has a decimal value. I'm going to skip that for now. This one is 0 and 3. So let's see what happened. Let's change colors here. So I went to the left, I'm sorry, to the right one, and then up 2. So it looks like I am doubling, right? I'm stretching it times 2. This one, if I go all the way over to the axis, y-axis, I went over 4 and I went up 8. So again, that's that doubling. So this is a 2 for my A. It's a vertical stretch. When it gets steeper, that's a vertical stretch. When it gets wider, that's a vertical shrink. All right, and let's do O, and I think that'll be it. So this one has a parent function of square root of x. I know that the parent function is that because it doesn't continue. It has this starting stopping point. Now technically there should be an arrow over here so that you would know that that would keep on going. So that's kind of a typo, but it does have that shape of a square root function. It does look like it's reflected though. It does look like it has that vertical flip. So I'm going to need to account for that. And it doesn't start at 0, 0. So there has been some sort of shift, right? So again, I'm trying to figure out what is the A. Oops, we just did absolute value. What is the H and what is the K? So let's look at what that point is. Looks like this point is 5 and up 3. That's my H and that's my K. So let's plug that in up here. I don't know what A is. I'm going to leave some room. So if I do x minus h, x minus 5, and then plus 3 for the k. And again, I need to figure out the a value right there. So I just want to double check to see if there's been a vertical stretch or a shrink. Typically with the parent function, you start at 0, 0. Square root of 0 is 0. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 2 and 3 I can't do very easily, so I might skip to the square root of 4 because I do know that one, and the square root of 4 is 2. And then a little bit further out, square root of 9 is 3. So this is what the parent function looks like. And I know that if I go over 1, I go up 1. If I go over 4, I go up 2. So that's the pattern, and I'm looking to see if that pattern holds. It has flipped, so it would be going over 1, down 1, over 4, down 2, which it's holding that pattern, but just reflected. So A is a -1. Now you don't have to put the 1 there, just a negative sign is fine, but A is -1. All right, that's all I'm going to do.